What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Absolute Power issue number 4. This one is written by Mark Waid with art done by Dan Mora. This is the final issue of the Absolute Power event, unless I'm missing some sort of tie-ins that I'm not aware of. But of the 4 main issues, they wrap itself up, and then it kind of leads right into another DC initiative, the whole all-in thing. And this issue has some pretty good stuff in it for the most part. It did feel like we crammed so much into this thing that there really just wasn't enough space to really kind of tell the full story to its full potential in these 4 issues. But I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, you know what, the faster we get these events done, the better. But for the most part, there was some pretty cool stuff in here. I do think that there was a bit of a missed opportunity with what was set up in the last issue with this whole multiversal army at Amanda Waller's disposal, and they don't really get to see that taken advantage of, but hey, it is what it is. So the issue does open up with Oliver Queen getting smacked in the face by Amanda Waller, which looks like a tribute to that famous Batman smacking Robin meme. And yeah, so Amanda Waller is still just being an awful person all around. What I did like about this issue is we finally do get to see her get her comeuppance for once, and the best part of the entire issue is when she gets socked right in the face. And I kind of wish they would have beaten her up a little bit more, but I mean, it's still cool to see her get punched in the face because, like I said, I don't like Amanda Waller with what they've done. So yeah, basically Heroes getting their all-out assault on Amanda Waller's base. And they do find their ins and outs of ways to kind of stop them. We also figure out what's been going on with Oliver Queen and why it seemed like he was like a double agent. Well, that's because there were some things, in order for him to kind of really fool everyone else, he had to also fool himself. So it kind of reminds me of, was it Death Note, when Light Yagami had to do something to where he forgot his memory to really kind of believe in something. And then once he kind of touched the note again after a certain amount of things, like all his memory returned to him. That's kind of what they do with Oliver Queen. So the contingency plan was Martian Manhunter had some sort of psychic implant put into Oliver to where he had to buy into Amanda Waller's stuff, and then at the proper moment that would be kind of taken away from him. So it all makes sense now why and how this whole betrayal thing. So in order to fool everyone, he had to believe it himself. So that was kind of a cool, clever workaround with that. I was kind of figuring out how they would do that situation. It's clever. Everyone's kind of ticked off at him for it, but hey, you know what? It was a contingency plan. Even Batman's like, wait, are you serious? Martian Manhunter's like, really? You're Batman. You have contingency plans for everything. So yeah, Heroes and everything, they managed to stop the Amazos because they had some sort of time hourglass thing kind of imported them where it kind of rewinds them to right before they lose, when they take damage to kind of self-heal. But they basically use that device to kind of return the powers to the heroes. But not every hero gets all the exact powers back the same way they were beforehand. It's kind of a bit of a shuffle. It's kind of similar to how we had, was it Lazarus Planet earlier on? Was it last year that Mark Waid did, where a lot of the powers were kind of scattershot? So we're kind of doing the same thing here. But some characters are having powers and some don't. Black Canary can shoot lasers out of her eyes, and a few other people can do a few other things. But yeah, Amanda Waller's there. She's finally defeated. The best part of the entire issue is when Dreamer returns, makes her glorious return, punches her right in the face, which is great. I wish she would have punched her a few more times. Would have been a little bit more satisfying. And Amanda Waller is defeated, but it does come at a cost to where the heroes and everyone else are cut off from the rest of the multiverse. And she eventually outs herself for yeah, I did all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And it's oh, hey, look at it. We had this whole plan operated so everyone can see just how much lying you've done. And then she gets thrown into prison, and she kind of talks about how it's I'm going to blackmail my way out of this situation. I have intel and dirt on everybody else. There's nothing you can do. And Dreamer's oh, about that. Well, I locked your secret intel memories away. I was able to get my family out and free. Thanks for that. So, yeah, so basically she's going to torture her by saying, oh, that knowledge is in your head. It's just locked away and you're just never going to be able to find it. So thanks for helping me with my powers, by the way. What an agonizing bit of torture for Waller. So now she is locked away in this prison. I can't see how she can get out. Like I said, the whole blackmail thing. It makes me think of other famous people in power who use blackmail to get out of situations, and we'll see if they'll get out of them too. Of course, referring to, well, you know what, never mind. But yeah, so having her kind of trapped in this prison, unable to get out, is pretty satisfying to an extent, although I wish she was beaten up a little bit more by Dreamer. That would have been cool. But hey, you know what, she's kind of locked away for a while. We don't need to see Amanda Waller. Have her go away for a really long period of time. Let's get the Justice League back. And that's kind of where the issue ends. Oliver Queen talks about basically what I've been saying for the longest time. Disbanding the Justice League was a really terrible idea. Let's bring the gang back together. Well, let's be better than ever before. And thus ends the issue with them setting up the Watchtower with the whole Justice League Unlimited thing. And then we got the DC All-In special. So yeah, like I said, some good stuff happening here for sure. The whole multiversal army that Amanda Waller had at her disposal was really just kind of limited to like Green Arrow and Flash kind of facing off them. They didn't really get the full extent of that. So the tease, maybe if they had more issues, they could have like had them fight the heroes in that too, would have been cool. But as it stands, like it's just kind of a almost sort of thing that happened. But yeah, I mean, they managed to cram a lot of stuff into these couple issues of Absolute Power. I think for the most part, like a lot of it did work out, at least in the main series. I didn't bother with the tie-ins because I'm just after like Night Terrors and Lazarus Planet, I just kind of told myself I'm pretty much done with DC events for a long time. Maybe if they take a year or two off, I might start getting into reading more stuff. But I was like, you know what? I don't really need all this extra information if to follow what's going on in here. And I enjoyed myself a little bit more as a result of it. So yeah, I did like Absolute Power issue 4. Dan Mora's artwork is really good. A little bit of missed potential with the whole multiversal army at her disposal not really playing much of a factor into the plot. But I think seeing Amanda Waller finally get punched in the face, would have liked a couple more shots to the face, especially after all the terrible things she did to everyone else. But hey, at least she's thrown in jail, and Dreamer gets kind of the last laugh too. I was wondering who would get the last laugh. I was like, oh, it's got to be Oliver Queen, it's got to be John Kent. No, it's actually Dreamer because of all the stuff that Waller did to her. So yeah, and then, you know, Dreamer was able to survive, I guess, because like John Kent like kept her memory. I think they're hinting at some sort of romantic thing between Dreamer and John Kent. Cool, I suppose. I don't know. I honestly don't really care too much what they do with John Kent's romantic love life between him, Jay, and Dreamer or whatever. So, because I've just given up as John as a character as a whole. So, have fun. Do whatever you want. It doesn't faze me anymore. So, yeah, but, yeah, that's all the stuff that really kind of happens within this issue. And then, like I said, we set the stage for All In, which I'm going to check out, reading kind of after I hopefully do this video, when I get a little bit of time today. So, yeah, so that's going to be it in terms of the, DC Comic Review in terms of this for today. What did you think of Absolute Power as an event? Are you glad that it's finally like over and now we can kind of get into a new era of DC, their whole all-in era? It's like, okay, we're going all in, we're doing some stuff here, let's have some fun and have a good time. So looking forward to seeing where it all goes from here. Looking forward to reading All In. And yeah, let's start fresh right now. I'm kind of hopeful a little bit for DC to kind of improve some things given the little bit of a fresh start kind of thing. And they kind of need one. It's not fully a reboot, but I also think it's good they're cut off from the rest of the multiverse. We can just stick to like one Earth for right now. Maybe deal with some consequences of some things and hopefully get some really entertaining comic books as a result of it. So I'm feeling a little optimistic after reading this thing. Not the greatest event I've read, because like I said, I'm just event fatigued. But for 4 issues, we got a lot in here. And like there was no bad issues of the main 4 issues of Absolute Power. And I'm excited to read Justice League Unlimited. That's a book I really want to read. So yeah. All right, well, what did you think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all the fun stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.